Hi everybody, today is day one of our reflective few days leading up to the celebration of my new book, Teacher in the Cupboard. So Teacher in the Cupboard is all about self-reflective, problem-solving practice. Each day from May the 1st, today should be May the 1st, we are going to be reflecting on a specific area of teaching and learning. Today it's all about communication. The hashtag is #ProudOfMyPractice. Each person who takes part in this is going to be entered on Friday into a prize draw. So today is all about communication, tomorrow is all about engaging the disengaged, and on Friday we are going to be thinking about all things teaching and learning. So hopefully everybody will join in reflection. So I'm going to read you a short extract from this. This is from a chapter called Get Some Perspective. Now if you've not read the book, then you might not understand that as well as a metaphor, Teacher in the Cupboard was a literal, I was put in a cupboard as a classroom assistant. So my teaching practice started through observation of the cupboard door. So we start here, as I sit in my cupboard. One day, a teacher took a child aside during a lesson to discuss unfinished coursework. The student had been in the learning mentor's office earlier that day, beside herself in panic, crying and looking for help. Her parents had just separated and she was unsure where she was going home to that night, as both parents wanted custody. Home wasn't the easiest place to do coursework, and she'd arranged to have time out of another lesson to try and get her mind on the work. This teacher either didn't know any of this or didn't care, and quickly launched into a verbal assault. I heard and saw it all. The class did too. Imagine the high-pitched, shaken voice of someone who has lost their composure as you read this. What's wrong with you? I'll tell you what, you're lazy. Why should I have to teach you? Why should I have to spend every night awake worrying about making sure you get a good education when you don't care yourself? Do you know the level of effort I go to for you? You deserve to fail this subject. Don't you know that this is such an important subject? If you fail at this, you'll fail in life. Inspiring, right? Did her admonishment work? No. The child never came back into lessons after that day. It was almost exam season and the school wrote her off, allowing an early study leave. Despite the teacher seeming to be the villain here, she was trying to do her best. She wanted her to hand in the coursework. Doing so would have improved her chances of passing a subject that's required to get into many college courses. Instead, she succeeded in turning her off school. This same teacher had been pretending to have hay fever for the past week. I saw her crying in her classroom, but her eyes were not red from the pollen. She'd been the talk of the staff room because of her unsatisfactory results. Everyone knew her teaching was substandard. She was always given the bottom sets to avoid her failing any of the important students. She was on a programme designed to manage teachers who did not deliver out of the profession. This teacher didn't want the student to fail, but she did create the failure. The child was finding her unbearable. The teacher was adding to that pressure because the pressure she was under herself was bubbling over into the classroom. Communication and mutual understanding was lacking. Neither party could step back and look from the perspective of the other. If only they could have stepped inside the cupboard to view the reality of their situation. Both teacher and student were blind to themselves and to each other. So when we're talking about communication today, we're thinking about things we are proud that we are developing to do with communication, whether that's in our classroom, whether it's between colleagues and staff, whatever you do that you're proud of, that develops communication in your setting. In this setting, communication was lacking. Understanding of each other's perspective was lacking. I want us to celebrate what we do that is excellent to do with communication today. So use the hashtag #ProudOfMyPractice. If you haven't got any ideas and this is not something you've been thinking about, I'd like to leave you with a couple of questions that you can reflect upon throughout today. Question number 1, do you always look from other people's perspective when in communication? So are you thinking about what other people are experiencing rather than just looking at a situation from your own perspective? Question number 2, do you listen? And I mean really listen. Most people listen by waiting to get their point across. They have that point in their head and they're waiting for that pause in the other person's speech so that they can get their point in. Really listening means you have to empty your mind, be present and listen. So use those as reflection for today. I want to see lots of hashtags, #ProudOfMyPractice. On Friday, each of the day's reflections, anybody who has participated and joined in, no matter how small or how big, your name will be put into a prize draw for a free copy of Teacher in the Cupboard. That's going to be drawn on live Friday, 7 p.m. So enjoy your day, make it all about communication, and be proud of your practice.